Are Native people racist? It feels like someone being racist is thrown around so much these days. But if you've ever encountered Indigenous people being racist and wondered why that is, then keep on watching. Watch this video to find out why Native people sometimes experience racism from other Native people. Hi there, I'm Mallory. Welcome back to the Tribal Trade channel, where we share new videos every single week about smudging, Indigenous culture, and Native teachings. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a new video. Now, why do so many Indigenous people discriminate against their fellow Native brothers and sisters? It seems like society is so much more aware of racism these days, but is that causing more racism? And what causes people to be racist and prejudiced in the first place? If you want to understand why Indigenous Native American people specifically are sometimes self-judgmental towards either their own tribal people or other non-Indigenous people too, then stay tuned to the end of this video because I'm covering 3 of the most common reasons why Indigenous people are racist towards other Native people and non-Indigenous people too. You may have heard a common stereotype that Native people are racist, even towards members of their own race and their own culture. This stereotype is far too often actually accurate, as racism actually occurs a lot. Unfortunately, there are many reasons why Native people sometimes treat other Native people poorly or judge them quickly. And most of the reasons are rooted in the trauma behind the Indigenous experience and the history of us as Indigenous people. In order to fully engage with and learn about Indigenous culture, it's really important to learn all about it, the good and the bad. That's why Tribal Trade Co. has helped tens of thousands of people learn all about all of the aspects of Indigenous culture, teachings, and of course, the history. And that's why today we're talking about the 3 most common reasons why Indigenous people are sometimes racist towards other Native people. Now, before we get in too deep on this heavy topic, what exactly qualifies being racist? Being racist includes prejudice, discrimination, or hatred directed at someone because of their color, ethnicity, or national origin. People often associate racism with acts of abuse or harassment. Our judgments and prejudices come from our origins, how we were raised, what we were taught, our experiences, and our culture. Indigenous people are no different. All of those things combine to create a few reasons why Indigenous people might be racist toward other Indigenous people. Now let's go through these reasons. The first reason why Indigenous people are often racist towards other Indigenous people is because we set rules and requirements for participating in Indigenous culture. Indigenous culture is incredibly important to Indigenous people. It's what makes us who we are. And as a result, Indigenous people can be very protective of that culture, which makes us try to hold other Indigenous people to the same rules or standards that we live by. Now, there's no one right way to participate in Indigenous culture, but that's not what all people believe. Some Native American people believe that there are certain things you should do or certain rules you should live by in order to truly be Native. This can create a lot of judgment and negativity between groups of Indigenous people. The people who set those rules or expectations can be judgmental of people who don't meet those expectations. And people who don't meet those expectations can be judgmental of the people who set them. So you could see how this would create a circle of negativity, a spiral of negativity, if you will, that would make Indigenous people feel uncomfortable with or even disdain for each other. Until we expand our expectations or idea of what it means to be Indigenous, unfortunately, the cycle of internal racism just continues. Now on to the second reason Indigenous people are sometimes racist towards other Indigenous people. Now, the second reason is that the stereotypes from the media make Native people insecure about our own identities. Again, racism often comes from a place of judgment or feeling judged. For generations, the media has portrayed Indigenous people through certain stereotypes, often negative ones, such as Native people are lazy, freeloaders, uncivilized, just to name a few. And as it is often a case with stereotypes, they're untrue and based off of false or misleading assumptions about the people that we're referring to. As a result, Native people, we often feel insecure about our identity. A picture has been painted of Indigenous people without our consent, and it's extremely difficult to break out of that perception. This can make Native people feel hostile toward other Native people too, who feel that they might be contributing to those harmful stereotypes. All of this just means that there is a lot of insecurity around Indigenous identity. And when you feel insecure, you're more likely to quickly and easily judge others. I want to ask you, have you experienced racism towards yourself or other Native people in your life? Please share with me if you're comfortable in the comments below. Okay, now on to the third and final reason for this video, why Indigenous people are sometimes racist towards other Indigenous people. Okay, so the third reason is that it is a defense mechanism from past pains and traumas. People are being defensive about feeling not Indigenous enough and portraying those on others. So finally, to put it simply, hurt people hurt people. There is a lot of pain and trauma in Indigenous history that Indigenous people are dealing with every single day. Dealing with that hurt isn't easy, and it can make us lash out or hurt other people because we are hurting. Judging, hurting, and condemning others can be a defense mechanism against dealing with our own pain. It's important to acknowledge the legacy of trauma behind Indigenous people because it impacts everything that we do. While racism is never right, it's important to understand the reasons behind why racism is occurring. Despite what you might think, it is possible for members of the same race or culture to be racist towards each other. And the reasons often have nothing to do with other people and everything to do with ourselves. Learning about how and why Indigenous or Native people experience racism is the first step towards healing those wrongs and moving on as more accepting of each other. While it will take a long time to work through all of the trauma of Indigenous history, all we can do is continue to learn about each other so that we can be more understanding of each other and kinder to one another as well. Now you know the three most common reasons why Native people might be racist towards other Native people or non-Indigenous people too. So hopefully you can be more empathetic and understanding in your interactions. If you like this video, be sure to share it with your friends. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that you never miss one of our videos. If you're looking for more resources on Indigenous people, Indigenous culture, and how to work towards truth and reconciliation with Indigenous communities, check out the links in the description below where you can find out the most recent learning resources for being a strong Indigenous ally and how to connect with the Indigenous culture if you are a disconnected Indigenous person, and so much more. Be sure to check out the description below. If you've experienced racism as a Native person or toward a Native person, what do you wish that that person had known about or experienced before judging you or someone that you had witnessed? Please share with us in the comments below. If you like this video, you might want to check out these two videos right here as you can learn more about being a good Indigenous ally, the steps that you can take to reconnecting with your Indigenous identity if that's you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Chimigwech Guamin. See you next.